We've talked about former Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard so many times on this channel, it's honestly starting to feel like we're producing a Netflix original. Every episode more dramatic than the last. Every twist somehow wilder than the one before. And just when you think the chaos might finally settle down, boom, Tiffany's back, starring in yet another sequel from the corruption cinematic universe. The latest plot twist? She strutted into court, stayed dead silent, and pulled the oldest move in the book, pleading the fifth. No statement, no spin, just silence. And make no mistake, this wasn't some small procedural moment. This was the scene where the so-called super mayor started watching her empire crumble in real time. Welcome to Chapter 97, How Not to Be a Public Servant. So here's what went down. Tiffany Henyard, former mayor of Dolton, part-time Thornton Township supervisor, full-time chaos distributor, was dragged into court again. The reason? Watchdogs were asking one simple question. Where's the money? And when they came looking for answers, she vanished. Poof. Gone. Like transparency itself was a bad Tinder match she ghosted. The group behind the lawsuit is the Edgar County Watchdogs. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you already know these guys. They've been on Tiffany's trail for years, pulling back the curtain on all the shady spending, ignored laws, and the endless soap opera that is Dolton politics. This time, they sued the village of Dolton itself, accusing her administration of flat-out ignoring FOIA requests. And here's the thing, FOIA isn't optional. It's the law. It's literally how citizens find out what their government is doing with their money. But under Tiffany's watch, Dolton acted like transparency was a suggestion, not a requirement. The watchdogs weren't even asking for anything crazy, just the basics. Credit card receipts, meeting notes, expense reports, simple everyday government records. Instead of handing them over, Tiffany's team hit them with the legal version of new phone, who dis, as if accountability was beneath them. Eventually, the judge had enough. Tiffany was already held in contempt for ignoring transparency laws, so this time the court ordered her to show up in person. No more hiding behind attorneys or press releases, she had to face the music. And when she finally walked into that courtroom, her lawyer came armed with the classic spin, she doesn't remember. Things were too chaotic. Chaotic because of her, by the way. You don't need a law degree to see what's happening here. Pleading the fifth might be legally smart, but politically, it's devastating. Especially for someone who used to brag about being the most transparent mayor ever. That silence said everything. And it's not her first time pulling that move. Back when she was still juggling both titles, mayor and township supervisor, her attorney, Brenly, gave her the same advice. Plead the fifth. Sure, any lawyer will tell you to protect yourself, but come on. When someone with that much power suddenly goes quiet, it's not confidence, it's fear. Because let's be honest, nobody pleads the fifth over a missing receipt or a typo in a memo. You plead the fifth when the truth has sharp edges. When it cuts deep enough to shred your career or your freedom. And Tiffany knows one wrong word could blow this whole thing wide open. Between the sketchy finances, the missing funds, and the suspicious spending that's already surfaced, she's one sentence away from disaster. That's why her lips are locked. What makes it all crazier is this isn't some murder trial. Nobody's asking her to confess to a crime. This is about public records, credit card statements, meeting minutes. If she had nothing to hide, she could have said that under oath. Instead, she clammed up, which tells you everything you need to know. Whatever's in those documents, it's bad enough to keep her silent. So the real question is, what's buried in there that she's so desperate to protect? Why all the dodging, the delays, the legal gymnastics? If it's just a misunderstanding, why not clear it up? Unless she knows exactly what those papers show. Unless saying it out loud would tear the mask off completely. At this point, it's not about public image anymore. It's about survival. And let's remember what we're talking about here. Credit card records. Nobody's guarding national secrets or classified intelligence. But Dolton's dysfunction? Oh, that's thriving. Her administration ran like a bizarre crossover between Parks and Rec and a Quentin Tarantino flick. Lots of chaos, no logic. This is the same woman who once waved around random papers during a board meeting, claiming a program was canceled, with zero proof. And when the court later asked for that proof, she shrugged and said, "Nah, that's the leadership we're dealing with." And then, while the hearing was still going on, the judge casually dropped another bomb. Another lawsuit. Yep, just add it to the growing pile. At this point, Tiffany Henyard has so many legal battles with her name on them, you could start a YouTube channel just to keep track. This new one doesn't just name her. It drags in the village of Dolton, the police department, and even the fire commission. And when Tiffany was asked about it, she swore she didn't even know it existed. Which honestly might not be a lie. She probably needs a spreadsheet just to remember which lawsuit she's in this week. But that's her playbook: stall, dodge, delay. Her whole defense at this point isn't legal, it's spiritual. She's ghosting accountability like it's her full-time job. Call it what it is, a stall tactic. She's pressing pause on a story she knows ends badly, hoping the audience forgets to hit play again. And with the FBI reportedly digging into the township's use of public funds and accusations of political retaliation, pleading the fifth might not just be her safest move, it might be her only move. Because this isn't fear of speaking. It's survival mode on a collapsing tower of reckless choices. So what did Tiffany do after leaving court? Oh, it gets better. She jumped on Facebook Live like she just stepped off a red carpet. You'd never guess she had just been in court over contempt and obstruction. Not a single mention of FOIA requests. Not one word about lawsuits. Instead, she treated it like a victory lap, smiling, thanking supporters, throwing up prayer hands, teasing her book tour. Like she's the star of a comeback story, not a defendant dodging subpoenas. According to Tiffany, the day was a total win, a success. I don't know what universe she's living in, but that live stream was pure delusion. She kept blaming haters, insisting people are targeting her because she's the first to do what she's done. No, Tiffany. People aren't coming after you because you broke barriers. They're coming after you because you broke trust. You turned public service into a personal payday. And for all her talk about faith, family, and fresh starts, she somehow skipped the part where she explains why she pled the fifth. But honestly, the silence said it all. Now let's talk about this so-called book. Keith Freeman once joked that Tiffany didn't even handle her own emails. Now she's an author? What's the title? Chapter 7, How to Dodge FOIA Requests. Chapter 12, Treating Public Records like Junk Mail. If she can't speak under oath in court, how is she suddenly ready to tell all in paperback? Let's be real. This isn't transparency. It's PR. It's her attempt to rewrite the ending before the next subpoena drops. Remember, she had every chance to tell her story during her re-election campaign. She swore she had the receipts. She promised proof of innocence. But those receipts never appeared. Not in podcasts, not in interviews, not in court filings. She's had chance after chance to show the truth and never did. So why should anyone believe this book will be any different? Is it going to cover the missing money, the retaliation, the shady contracts? Or is it just going to be another "they hated me because I was first" sob story wrapped in motivational quotes? This isn't just another headline, it's a full-blown saga. The slow-motion unraveling of one of the most chaotic local governments in recent memory. Every court hearing, every leak, every livestream peels back another layer of the truth. And yet, Tiffany keeps performing like it's all part of the plan. But the act is wearing thin. The walls are closing in, and she's not fighting to clear her name anymore. She's fighting to stay relevant. Because once the lights go out on this show, there's no encore. So buckle up, because this story isn't over. Not even close. And I've got to ask, would you actually read Tiffany Henyard's book? Because I would. She might never finish it, but I'd still flip through every page. Drop your thoughts below, because this saga, like her lawsuits, is just getting started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.